Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Brett McCollum, and I'm here today with Ernest Smith. And today we're going to talk about the trifecta. What does that mean? Stay tuned. Before we do, guys, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs to 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted and allow them to build the lives they've always dreamed of. Without further ado, Ernie, how are you?
I am fantastic, Brett. What's going on with you?
Oh, man, it's been good. Just getting to know you a little bit. We talked, before the show, catching up, with each other there. So, and man, guys, I say this all the time, I do, but I'm actually really excited to talk with Ernie and get to know him a bit more, introduce him to you guys. And, we have a lot coming up, but before we do, Ernie, catch us up to speed a little bit. Who are you? Give us some history, some background, who's Ernie Smith?
Well, I appreciate that. And thanks for having me on the show. And so, yeah, who is Ernie Smith? That's a good question, right? Everybody's like, hey, Ernie, where's Bert? And I always joke because that's my mom's name is Bert. So I literally have, and I was named after my father. So I literally have Bert and Ernie as my parents, but
that's funny.
And I didn't tell you that before, but so I started out, and we're kind of I started into drafting design engineering. So I started out designing houses and designing structures. So everything that was on paper, and then it's translated into the knowledge of what went into a property. So then eventually, I ended up buying my first property, and was funded by the bank of mom and dad. And then I got into kind of a house hacking situation where I lived in them for a little while, fixed them up and sold them. And then eventually I ended up going to get kind of increase my authority, if you will, in this space. And I became a general contractor and a real estate broker. So all the above.
Wow. Yeah. Thanks, mom and dad, right, for that intro into real estate. How long ago was this?
Actually, this is like 23, 24 years ago.
Yeah.
I know I look like I'm in my mid 30s, but I'm in that 50 range now. So,
pushing it a little bit. Yeah, I'm actually closing in on 40, and I'm like second guessing everything about my whole life. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm actually like starting to. This is real middle age coming up here. What's happening right now? So,
yeah,
life happens to us all, man. But yeah, so all right, so you're in college. Were you in college still when this kind of your first, real estate, or was it post college? When was that?
No, so being as most people's stories go, when we talk with our parents, there's always that parental guidance that they give you. So my first property I was going to buy was when I was 19 years old, and it was like if you can imagine, from where I lived at in Ohio, it's right on the border of West Virginia and Pennsylvania. And so this particular property was in West Virginia, which is right across the border. and it was a log cabin style house. So it's very big, 12 by 12 oak beams. It's gorgeous.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And we had a friend of ours, well, a friend of my parents, that the son had passed away, and it was his house that he was working on. Well, I had an opportunity to buy this house for like $42,000 or something like that. I was like, yes, I love this thing. I want it. And, the parents being like, well, it needs a lot of work and it needs a lot of money, and so they talked me down off of it. And I think that kind of held me up a little bit. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to college. I'm doing these things. So let me do that. And, long story short, it might have been good that they did, because at least I went to college and did some of that academics, and I learned more about the architectural side. I learned more about the structure. I learned more about what went into doing the houses. And so I was just building the knowledge base behind it. And so I loved it. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I mean, just having kind of that support system behind you and knowing that they're, um, that's incredible, honestly, because a lot of us don't, some of us do, or some of us don't get to have that, and you get to do that. So you're, you were what, 20? How old were you when you got the first house?
Oh, geez, you're right. I was 20, let's see, 21 going on 22, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, young enough to like, let's go, but still, like, and I'm ready to take the world by the horns kind of thing. But when did you ultimately start, like, really, like, not that you weren't serious about it, but like, when did you really go, real estate is like a thing for me? Like, when did that
It
kind of
wasn't
happen?
really until like I got licensed in 2014, I think. Like I was working a W-2 job up until like 2016, and then I was like, I'm just gonna go do my own thing, and it was fine because like when I you don't know what you don't know, right? And that's really what this all comes down to. And
Right.
so, for me, we didn't have the YouTube universities. We didn't have all this information that we have on the internet now. I mean, back then we had AOL and it was like slow as Moses, right? And when I was in college, I mean, we did everything through on paper and we were hand drawing it. And then when I was starting to get out of college is when we started getting the AutoCADs and the three-dimensional drawings and all those things started to go into it. And so things were just starting to evolve. And so if you can think of it from that standpoint, it's like the rotary phones back then. Like kids nowadays don't know what a rotary phone is, let alone how to
Yeah.
figure it out how to use it. But so all in all those things together, is really kind of built into the experience. Bless you. So I guess the big caveat to it all is kind of, it was like 2020. I was 21. It was like maybe in 2001, 2002, I ended up buying the first property. It was in 2014 I got my license. I left corporate America in 2016, and I've just kind of been doing real estate since, full time with
Nice.
it. Yeah.
What was and I know we kind of talked a little bit before this, like the W-2, what were you doing then?
So actually, it's kind of multiple things. So in my early sector of like 98 to 2003, I got partnered with a friend of mine, and we opened up a couple small not chain, but small restaurants that we called juice companies. And so we did smoothies and juices and breakfast wraps
Oh,
and all that. So I was in the restaurateur side for probably about 5 years or so. And then we had 9/11 happen, and then that played a big havoc on the economy, right? And so then I found myself getting into doing sales for food companies. So I worked with two of the largest food companies that are out there, U.S. Foods and Cisco.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And each for about 6 or 7 years or so, something like that. And it was good because my customers didn't want to see me at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so it allowed me to go see all my houses at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so I was just kind of
Yeah.
doing the flips, in between all my other stuff, and it was nice because I would do a couple flips a year. I'd make 40, 80 grand extra. I was like, this is great. But all that dynamic changed when I started doing it full time. So now it's a matter of like, how do we do more, scale more, grow faster, do more, and there's a lot of that comes into it, and I'm sure we'll dive a little bit more into all that as we talk.
Yeah. No, and I like just hearing the evolution, right? Like of like how things were, like just kind of the core of it all. I mean, man, you've been an entrepreneur for how long? Like
2020.
you had your own, like that's like incredible, and the resilience of 2001, going through something that, like, I don't know what it did, but like it definitely probably shook you, as far
Oh
as
yeah,
the mental of like, how do I navigate a world that's changing, and boy, does that translate till
yeah.
today, right? And
And that's very similar to COVID, if you
but
think
you've been
about
there.
it. I mean, not we didn't have the shutdown and all that stuff, but I mean the economic the economic side of how it all
Yeah,
transpired out of the World Trade Towers, getting all that happening. Um, I was in a place, I mean, but I was actually in Charlotte also at that time, and Charlotte has always kind of been like the number two industry for the banking behind like New York, and so we didn't feel like a lot effect from it, but yeah, we did feel it, and it made us change and have to pivot
absolutely.
a lot more with what was going on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely did. It's that timing, and just like I said, going through that, no, and then when you're faced with difficult things coming on, it's like, man, I've done this and I've been through it. I know I've got the muscle. It's different, but that muscle that's required to get through that has been built.
Yeah.
You have that. You can go back to that cornerstone, if you will, that pillar of I've done, like I've been here. I can do this too. And I think we need stuff like honestly, like every entrepreneur that you had said, if you haven't had challenges, you just haven't been doing it long enough.
Yeah.
But you having these challenges, like you're able to look back and then reflect on like the new, because it's not always good, but good, it's just different, right? It's a new challenge now.
Yeah.
But you have that mental reflection of, I've been through this one, I've been through that one, I've gotten through all of them, I can get through this one too.
Yeah.
you know
Well, to your point, so nowadays we have a lot more opportunities for mentorship. We have a lot more opportunities for coaching, and not to say that we didn't back then.
right.
It's just not as readily available as it is today. And you have other
Accessibility,
resources,
right.
and there's other groups around, sports around that can help you out in whatever venture you're in. And so I'm sure there's someone that you can learn from that's been there and done that of what you're going through, right? So I was kind of talk. It's kind of funny. So last night I was doing a presentation, and I used the analogy of like when you first start out snow skiing as a kid or even as an adult, you typically have a coach that shows you how to snowplow, right? And being in Florida, you may not know what I'm talking about, but um,
I'm natively from Ohio. I'm
all
with you.
right. But you get a snowplow. Well, then if I wanted to excel and go start racing slalom down the hill, that same coach is not going to be my coach going and teach me how to do that, right? So you have to
Right.
change. You have to, hey, what am I looking at doing? Do I want to increase to $1 million business, a $5 million business, or 50? You're going to have to find people that are in those positions that can help you get to that level because and that's really kind of the name of the game. And it was different back then because we just didn't have those, or if we did, me being an Ohio boy out in the middle of the country, like I didn't know those resources. Those didn't really
Yeah.
apply. Is hard, school of hard knocks and learning it.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's life is, especially growing up the way we did, and times are a little bit different than they are now, and accessibility is at an all-time high. Like you think of something you can have in front of you in 2 seconds, right? And more and more as coaches are coming out and say, because we're in that information age. You mentioned YouTube University earlier. Um, that people are seeking coaching, and they're seeking isolated information, like maybe not like, I don't want to learn about all of this, I want to learn about this, and it's interesting to see how that's changed, that's for sure, because when we were getting started, it wasn't readily, you had to know where to look or knew somebody that knew something, right? Yeah, man, it's an incredible testament to you that you've grown through that and gotten kind of where we are. But kind of a good transition point, I think, Ernie. So fast forward, catch up, kind of because we kind of let off the trifecta, and like, what is that? And then walk that back a little bit and like kind of build that out, make it make sense for everybody.
Okay. So kind of trifecta is really the perfect triple combo, right? So it's a matter of like, if you think about it in the sports sense, we always hear more of the trifecta around betting, if you will, against like typically horses, right? You always hear kind of the trifecta side.
Right.
But really what it is like when you pick those numbers, you're picking them in the correct order that they're going to cross the finish line. So when I look at it from this side, I'm dealing in real estate. And so in the real estate side, who's my primary customer is mostly the sellers, right? Because they have a product that I need in order to do a service in order for me to be able to full cycle it and sell it as my own product. So when we look at things kind of in that side, I'm gearing those opportunities. So now being a licensed general contractor and a licensed realtor, I can now do really a full cycle. Hey, as an investor, you don't have to do anything. Like we can come in, buy your house as is, turnkey. You can just walk away. We'll get it, and take it over. And there's also all the creative ways to be able to do it, subject to the owner financing, lease with the option, cash. So you have all these options inside of that. The side of it is that most of the people that are hurting, they want a fast solution and they want the most amount of money because they feel like that's going to be their solve for it. And so when we walk them through the
Right.
pain points of what all that is, well, you want retail, but your house doesn't show retail. So we can help you with that with our general contracting services and then get you to the finish line by us selling the property for you. And then that's our commissions out of those scenarios, right? Our fees. Or, we can just take it from you right now and at a discounted rate, but and then we'll just do the contract and close on it as it is. And so it allows us to be able to talk through each of those processes thoroughly,
Right.
and it allows them to sit there and make a choice. Do we want it now, or do we want potentially a little bit larger amount later? And it just allows that conversation to happen more fluently.
Yeah. And from a place of trust, ultimately, right?
Yes.
When the homeowner that you're sitting like, hey, I'm actually a general contractor. This is what I like. I'm not just because man, you see I promise you, anybody look anywhere you're at, I don't care where you are listening from, go on to Google and say, sell my house fast, right? Like some of these people do, or whatever the version of that is that people, there are websites out there going to come up. 90% of them are wholesaling, right?
Yeah.
Very few of them are actually going to be able to perform in a way that you guys like what your company does, Ernie, because they can't actually articulate I actually do the construction.
Yes.
I own the construction. This is what I do. So we can do this or that. And you tell me what's best for you. They're raising their hand that they want to sell it. Great. Let's get you there. And you fit in, dude, what a sweet like situation, right? Like to be able to fit into that. And it's the trifecta. That's perfect. I love the analogy. That's you fit into that box. That's really good. I would imagine though, like, and how are you guys? So, cause it's a really cool thing. Like, all right, let me back up a little bit. I've said it a lot of times on the show, and you've heard he or she who controls the money controls the deal. That's said a lot of times.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think it's even more he or she who owns the construction really controls the deal. What is your feeling on that?
About the construction side?
Construction side, yeah. If you own the construction, you really can control the deal. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's to an extent. So what it does is that knowledge and information that I have about the construction allows me to negotiate with the sellers differently than just giving them kind of a ballpark round number. So I'll give you, for instance,
Right.
so we did a project here just recently, and so the wholesaler had the right to be able to sell it on the MLS as well as marketing it to their list. And this particular wholesaler was out of California, and this is a property that's right here in North Carolina. And so, so I can't talk. I'm not talking to the seller specifically. I'm talking to the wholesaler, right? Now they had the relationship, but what it is that so on the retail market they are asking 1.34 million. On the wholesale market, they're
Mm-hmm.
asking 1.15 million. So we're about $200,000 difference. Well, I'd like the lower number better myself, right? So when you start looking at, all right, now I have the opportunity to get in front of the seller because I called the wholesaler and said, hey, I'm on my way. I would like to go see this property. When you want to go see it in 15 minutes, there's a sense of urgency around it. So he made it happen. I got in front of the seller, didn't really talk to the seller. My business partners were close by. I had them come by as well. And I said, hey, let's walk the property. And so looking at the property, there's just a lot of deferred maintenance to it. And this is like a 3,600 square foot house. But again, we're in a higher dollar amount. It's on the lake. There's a lot of different opportunities with it. And but immediately I'm adding these numbers up in my head as we're walking around. Oh, it needs new fascia boards. It needs new gutters. It needs new doors. It's got wood rot here. The pool is painted black, so it looks nasty. It's like we started just adding up all these ticket items and stuff along with it. And then ultimately we came up with a number. So I went back to the seller or I went back to the wholesaler and I said, hey, you're asking 1.15 million, but it needs a lot of work. I'm willing to offer you $972,655.78. And they're like, what?
Very specific.
They never
Yeah.
have numbers like that thrown at them, right? And so they're like, uh, okay, well, and then they come back and they're like, well, we can come down to 1.05. So they dropped it $100,000 more. And I'm like, okay, well, I like where it's going. And I said, and I appreciate that moving forward. I said, but the best I could do on this thing is maybe $995,000 or whatever. And they're like, okay, well, we'll need to go back and talk to the seller. And so they did. They renegotiated with the seller, and we got the deal closed.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that's because of when you know the construction because it's in. Do you guys do it in house? Like when you're GCing, you keep it all in house. I'm assuming,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So those numbers are dialed in. It's built for profit inside of the company as well for the construction side, and you get to capitalize that on the back end to the flipping business side of it. That's what I mean. Like, man, when you get to control that construction, you're like, those levers are like, you just perfectly showcased it right there. You pull those levers just right because you know, hey, if I'm running this, this is the job. New fascia boards, new this, new this, new this, and I know what that costs because it's my business, and I know how much,
Well, I
and
mean,
you
to an
can.
extent, there are
It's
still
incredible.
quite a few things that we hire subcontractors out for. So like all the M&P stuff we
Sure,
hire out for, maybe like gutters and different things like we hire out for. Like we don't do, a lot of things like that in house, but there are, quite a few things that we do. But um, we had a couple different models. We had the employee models for a while, and that's worked out pretty decently. But then there's a lot of overhead costs that go along with that
yeah.
versus just kind of going the subcontractor route. But you don't have as much control in some of those scenarios and stuff with it, so
Right. I mean, and one of the big perks in the construction, like for you and that I see, is you really get to, yeah, some with the subs, maybe not, but like more or less though, you can control the timeline of that rehab
yeah,
because, I'm not like me where I'm dependent on you. Like, let's say you're my GC, okay, Ernie, and I'm dependent on Ernie's to do what he said. I'm dependent on you. But if it was I control the timeline, and that is a really powerful place, inside of our flips is because that's a lot of our problems, right? It's over budget over time, which ultimately means you're like when you're flipping houses, that is a
yeah,
recipe for not good,
yep.
you know, and that's really, I love that you've got that,
There
man.
we are.
That's
Are we
really
back?
cool. Yes, sir.
All right. I think I may have been something on my side. I'm not sure. The
It's okay. No, I was just complimenting the fact that you get to keep that in house, and I think it's really cool. I think that's a special thing. All right. So Ernie, man, yeah, it's been really, like, it's just really interesting. You got all the things in house like that, able to pull the different levers, and I think that's really it's a cool thing that you've got going.
Yeah, there's always pros and cons to it and stuff, but then, I'm always kind of a fan of like the more you can kind of control them throughout the rehab process, the better off it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're insulating the risk, right? Like that, you control it on all the ends and you're insulating the risk as best you can.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're wearing a bunch of
Yeah.
hats, but at the end of the day, there's no one else to blame either. So it's like I can't point fingers and be like, hey, this didn't happen, or this didn't happen, or you
Yeah.
didn't act, and it's all on us. So we have to be on our point, our game point with everything as well. So yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's super cool. Well, man, hey, let me ask you this. If people want to reach out, connect with you in some way, that sort of thing, what's the best way for that to happen?
Dude, I been working toward all this stuff, but it's Ernest Smith Official. Ernest Smith Official. ERNEST Smith Official. And you can find that .com. You can find me on all of the social media as underneath that as well. I do have a podcast as well. It's Ernest Goes to Network podcast. And get along with all the community things that we do locally here in Charlotte. And then we do a lot of speaking and stuff as well. Both we're actually just did one wrapped up in LA, and a lot of that is in if you'll follow along in the story on the social medias. But yeah, all through there.
That's incredible, guys. Seriously, go over there, check him out. Ernest Smith Official, guys. And we'll have that in the show notes too, okay? But man, Ernie, this has been great getting to know you, getting to hear like the whole journey, the evolution of it, what Trifecta is. It's just cool that you get to kind of have that like going. I've been really excited to talk with you about that, man. So thanks for being
Thank
here.
you. Me too. I'm glad that finally got the opportunity to talk with you, and we'll look forward to definitely more relationship building as it goes along, right?
Absolutely. That's the name of the game, man. But cool. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. It's been a great episode, and we will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.